Tatiana Edwards,
I'm Katrina Hagen.
and we're here to teach you on the home buying process. And here we are. Katrina is going to talk to you about the best ways to save money.
I want to talk about how to save money for buying a house. So savings for down payment is a foundation. As every house needs a foundation, you need foundation to save for
The down payment.
down payment.
Mhm.
Down payment. How to save money if you already have salary. You might get an extra shift, for example, get second job. Also very important to record your spendings. You write down how much you earn and how much you spend. In the folder you can find the sheets where you can write down every month your expenses. Also you can look at your ways to save. For example, check your subscriptions. Maybe you have some subscriptions you don't use anymore. Like if you don't go to gym anymore, you can cancel it, or you don't have to use Netflix, for example. That will be good savings too. And what I personally did when I started saving for my first house, as soon as I received my paycheck, I put 10% of every paycheck to savings account. So I didn't even count that I had that money. So the first thing I did, I put 10% in my savings. That's how I save pretty fast. Also, you might cut your Starbucks drinks every morning if you do that. We did it and we cut it. And
It's a hard one.
yes, there are many different ways to save. One of them is make a shopping list, because sometimes you go to the store, you can buy so many different things you didn't need, but when you have a list, you buy only what you need.
Don't go to the store hungry either.
Yes, don't go to the store hungry because you buy more than you need. Also, you can find in your folder the sheet how to divide your expenses for what you need and what you want. So that's very important. If you want to save, you cut your wants and you stick to your needs. So I think that's important part. And for down payment, you can use, Tatiana will explain further how much do you need to save for down payment.
Okay. So the first step in the home buying process is to meet with the real estate professional. And the first item that real estate agent that is going to go over with you is the working with the real estate agents brochure. And Preston is going to share that one. We'll discuss it.
The working real estate agent brochure is either going to be a black and purple brochure, or it's going to be just a printout paper that is going to explain exactly who an agent is in a transaction and who they are working for. It is not a contract, and it is just there to disclose that if you do not have a contract with a said agent, that agent does not represent you and will not necessarily be looking out for your best interests. They very likely, any information you give them, if you're the buyer, they will be sharing with the seller. And it just breaks down what each of those relationships are in the transaction.
So you have to, your agent is going to discuss the types of homes you're looking for, and the style, the price, and the location, and those are main things that we will ask you to do. The next step is to get pre-approved, and Heidi is actually not here, and I'm gonna go over some of the items that she would go over. So there's a first-time home buyers counseling that is available to buyers. They will get you to check your credit to see if you are credit worthy. Then you can determine your monthly payment. You can set your price range, as we mentioned before. Then you actually start shopping with the lenders. Let's see. You have to get pre-qualified or pre-approved. That's a main thing that you have to do. There are different types of loans available. The one that I like working with is USDA loan. It's 100% financing. You don't put any money down. Well, actually, I shouldn't say you don't put any money down. You have a very minimal money out of pocket with that one, but it's 100% loan. The FHA is a 3.5% down payment loan. That one is little bit, USDA and FHA, they're both backed up by the government, so they are a little bit tricky sometimes, and you have to comply with certain regulations. And conventional loan is actually the easiest one to get, and it's a 5% down payment. But if you're a first-time home buyer, they offer a 3% down payment option.
And it's a lot of paperwork for
There-
first two, a lot of paperwork.
Yes.
And real estate agents help with that.
So because I speak Russian, I help people in the Russian community with the USDA loans, and they ask me to pretty much fill out the paperwork for them so they can sign. So I do that, and Ekaterina does that as well. The documents that you will need are like your pay stubs, W-2s. If you're self-employed, it's 1099. Your bank statements, investments, how many cars you own, how many boats you own, etc. You have to disclose all of that information because they take that into consideration of your assets.
And also, I didn't say that try not to get a lot of credit finances before you're applying for the loan, because it will affect it.
That's right, that's right. So there is a ratio that the lenders use in order for you to be qualified. So if your ratio is above their level, they're not gonna qualify you for a high enough of a loan. You have a packet right there on your desk. It says buying versus renting. So just look at that, how much money you can be saving by purchasing a property versus renting for the same price. And it's definitely, there's appreciation return on the investment. Let's see, what else? Funds to close. Funds to close, Ekaterina covered it, saying that we need to have money down. I mean, or we need to have money for home inspection, for the appraisal, for attorney fees, etc. So having money in the bank is a good thing.
Crucial.
The mortgage process is the pre-qualification. Again, I'm going over her sheet. Then you get the purchase and contract, which we're going to go over in just a minute. Then the loan is going to get submitted to the underwriting. Property gets approved. Loan gets a conditional approval if everything has worked out fine, and then you get a clear to close, and that's what we want to hear most of the time when we're in the process of purchasing a house. Then you sign final documents.
Do you have any questions on this part?
All of the items
What is
are
approximately
included right
amount
here.
of money I should have for other expenses, as a raising fee, attorney fee?
Closing costs. How much closing costs?
Okay, so the question is how much money he's supposed to have for the appraisal, inspection, and the closing costs. It varies, and Rex is gonna go over the inspection fee. Jeremy is actually gonna go over the home homeowner's insurance with you, so that kind of gives you an idea of those. Attorney fees vary from $1,000 and up. Per transaction, it depends which attorney you use. If it's a cash closing, sometimes they can, cut you a
Get a
break, but if
loan,
it's not, if
it's
you're getting
more.
a loan, it's more.
But it's around what, 6,000?
Typically, we try to do $5,000 as
Save
like closing costs, but you can go up to 3% of the purchase price. So if something needs, like the interest needs to be bought down, so that money can be used as part of that.
So, and if you want to buy a land, to qualify for the loan, you need a 25% down payment for small lot, or if you're buying big lot, 10 acres or more, you can have only 15% for down payment, and then money to build. You get a loan for construction, so this is another option.
So, once you got pre-approved, we start looking for homes. We will set up an automatic search email and text, but you should also prowl the internet, because sometimes the search does not reveal all of the possible properties.
And
Okay.
also Zillow and other websites, they don't show all the properties we can see, so that's why it's good to work with a real estate agent from the very beginning.
Yes. And we will schedule showings, and we will help you find the perfect home. Next part would be, once we found the perfect home, we're making an offer. The exclusive buyer agency agreement is a document that is required to be signed by all of the buyers. And it entails that you're hiring such and such firm to represent you in the transaction, and you definitely can go over it with the agent once you get to buying a house. So then agent will prepare the offer based on the price and terms you choose, which is, there's a due diligence fee that is involved. It's a fee that is given to the seller. It's non-refundable fee if you back out from the contract, but it is the fee that will be deducted from the price of the home once everything goes through okay.
So it's technically protecting you, the diligence fee protecting you, so anytime during this period you're writing down in the contract and the offer, you can get out of the contract with any reason. And you just lose that little bit of money, but you can get out of the contract. So if you find something bad during inspection, or you just found another house, so you can get out from the contract and lose that due diligence deposit.
Mm-hmm. Then there's the earnest money deposit that is usually held by the attorney, and that is just the money out there that they want, that the sellers want you to keep as the, how would I say it?
To show that you're
interested. So there's two fees that you usually would be putting it down. Closing costs, we kind of went over it slightly. Then the offer will be sent to you via email, you sign it, or if you don't have a capability of signing, the agent will meet with you. Negotiations on the contract. So the first offer might not be accepted, so you can go back and forth multiple times, you can go for weeks, you can go for days, and it could be accepted right away. So let's see, and then the contract, once everything worked out, the contract pretty much provides you with a timeline that you need to obtain financing, which is the due diligence time. You need to inspect the physical property and then the condition of the home. And we will inform you of your rights and responsibilities as far as the contract is concerned.
Any questions?
Okay, so once we're under contract, we agree, buyers and sellers agree to the terms. We have time to perform due diligence, which are inspections and financing. We perform home inspection and they review results with the agent. We can propose those results to the seller and negotiate a price drop, or we can ask them to fix certain things.
For example, appraisal. If appraisal comes back on the house much lower than the asking price, you can negotiate that moment too. Or if it's still, you're still in due diligence period, you can get out of the contract and say, no, this house doesn't worth as much as you're asking.
Correct. That is, and if the house comes back and the inspector said, hey, there's a foundational issue will require you $50,000 to fix it, you know, you can request it from the seller to fix, or you can just walk away or fix it yourself, of course, or you can do a price drop. So there's like different things that we can do. Once the home inspection is done, the lender usually orders an appraisal, and that one can be anywhere from $600 and up. So it all depends on whoever they pull out from the hat. There's not a set appraiser that they choose. Used to be, they could choose whoever, like, oh, my friend is an appraiser, but not anymore. So there's a pool of people, and pretty much they push the button, and that's the appraiser who's gonna appraise the place. Lender will ask everybody about everyone who is involved in the transaction of the purchasing, on their W-2s, their updated paychecks, etc., etc. So you have to just provide that information. And we need to get a quote on the homeowner's insurance and provide that to the lender as well. And Rex is going to go over the home inspection section.
Hello, I'm Rex Cole, Cole's Home Inspections, and I'd like to talk to you about the reason to get a home inspection. Of course, there's many reasons. Number one reason is some loans and some insurances require a home inspection. But really the number one reason, in my opinion, is peace of mind. It gives you a professional set of eyes that's been trained and licensed to go out and look at your home and make sure everything's okay. And like she said, what we find, we can bring back and you can relook at the home, having known what all's involved with the home. Buying a home is the biggest investment you'll ever make in your life. So a lot of people want to go have somebody that knows property or knows something about it to go with them. And this way you're hiring somebody. And we're going to spend 3 hours going over your home with a fine-tooth comb. And a lot of times you won't get that just walking through. Okay, that's okay. Anyway, a lot of times you go look at a home, and this is all the things we inspect. And this is not a full list, and I didn't get it exactly right, but we check your foundation, your roof, your plumbing, water heater, electrical, HVAC, your attic. We'll go through the attic, the crawl space, the basement, siding and trim. We make sure all your appliances working, that kind of thing. The only things we don't check are pool systems, solar panels, security system, things like that. So the number 2 reason is it's going to wind up, the home inspection is going to wind up saving you money, even though you got to pay for it up front. It's going to wind up saving you money. If almost every time somebody's purchasing a home, they get a home inspection, and when I bring back the results, then you can take that to the seller and say, look, this water heater's not working, or the HVAC system needs upgrading. So that way you can bargain with them and have them lower the price. And that's the number one way it's going to save you money. A lot of times, like for example, if I find a slow drain in one of your bathrooms, then odds are that you're going to go back to the seller and they're going to go get a quarter drain on, pour it down the drain, and that's going to take care of it. But a lot of times, sometimes it could be a much worse situation, and you're going to find that out in advance, and it's going to save you money down the road. So the number 4 reason is you get an overall picture of your house that you're going to buy, because I'm going to take pictures of where your water cutoffs are, where your fuel cutoffs are, all that kind of thing. And it's going to give you a better picture of the house. And it's also going to give you a punch list of things that need fixed on the house. It may be something small that you don't necessarily negotiate with the seller on, but it's going to be something that you're going to want to fix. And so I'm going to find all those things, and you're going to have a list of what you need to fix. And it's maybe going to avoid some future problems. Like I always, when I inspect the electrical panel, sometimes I run across some that are full, can't add anything to it. And maybe you're looking at a house, you're thinking about finishing the basement. Well, if your electrical panel's full, then you may not be able to do that. So you're going to have all that information you need to make a wise decision about this home. And a lot of times people won't, maybe if you're buying a home that was built in the 80s, a lot of the codes have changed, and now that home don't have to be updated for you to buy it, but maybe you want to bring it up to code after you buy it. So this is going to give you a list of those things that you might want to change when you do buy it. And we also do some extra things that, not on your normal inspection, like looking for lead, stuff like that. We also do mold testing, water quality testing, septic testing, and pest inspection. Of course, those are extra fees if you want those. Radon, that kind of thing. So, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question about it. How much is the cost radon gas service?
Well, radon gas, if I do it at the time of the inspection, it's $120.
This is just for a time of inspection. Is it will be later on needed to do again?
Well, if I do it at the time of inspection, then I leave it there for 2 days, and I come back and get it. Now, if I do it some other time that's not associated with the inspection, it's $150. So anybody at any time could get their home checked for radon, that kind of thing.
And the radon gas is a very big issue here in this mountains area.
It is, radon is caused by the breakdown of uranium in the soil. And radon gas is actually the number 2 cause in this country of lung cancer. So, you know, not much is known in the past about radon, but we're learning a lot more about it, and it's a pretty big deal. Now, if you have a home with a crawl space, it's not going to be an issue because there's ventilation in the crawl space. But now, if you have a home with a basement that you're planning on using that basement, you probably want to get a radon check.
I have a question. So, do you still need to have like a plumber come, and do you have to have like an HVAC person come, or if you have just like a home inspector, is that enough?
No, well, it depends. If I'm going to go through with a fine tooth comb and see if there's any problems. If we do find some plumbing problems, then you may want to get an estimate from a plumber to see how much it's going to cost to fix that problem. It's a good question. Same way with electrical or HVAC. A lot of times your biggest issue, a lot of people worry about the most, is the foundation and the roof. Those issues, I get asked a lot. People really want to know. But, any other questions?
Yeah, that's related also for inspection. If you find some problem with, like you said, plumbing or electrical, which parts homeowner can fix by himself.
Yes.
So, this will be issue with appraisal or something else.
Well, if I find a problem, let's say, just like I talked about the slow drain or something like that, then your agent will contact the seller's agent and they will tell them the issue. And they can either choose to fix it themselves or knock a little bit off the price and you fix it, things like that. So there are several options you have if you do find a problem.
Thank you.
I want to introduce Jeremy Cox, our home insurance guy. We work with him. He's very professional. Please, can you do a little presentation for us about home insurance?
Thank you for having me. I work for North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, and I've been in the insurance world for about 14 years now. And insurance is a very important part of the home buying process. If you have a loan on your house, you have to have insurance. So if you're paying cash for it, you do not have to have it, but why would you not protect one of your largest investments? When you have homeowners insurance, there's several things that come into play as far as the age of the house, how much you're trying to insure the house for, how close you are to fire departments and fire hydrants. All of those things play into how much your homeowner's insurance costs. But your homeowner's insurance covers several things. Of course, number one, it covers your house. Number two, it covers other structures up to 10% of the value of your house. And then it'll also cover your personal property, your additional living expense if you did have a damage to your house while there was a storm or fire or whatever you had happen, that's covered under the policy. And then a big one that a lot of people don't think about is your personal liability. And probably the biggest things that we see there is a dog bites somebody, or you were mowing a yard and you slung a rock through somebody's house or something. But liability is an important part of that homeowner's policy. But there are a lot of things that are covered under a homeowner's policy, and then there's several things that are not. But some of the biggest things that are covered under a homeowner's policy, of course, is fire or lightning, wind or hail, explosion, if an aircraft flew into your house, smoke, vandalism, theft, fallen objects. Those kind of things are things that you want to look for on your homeowner's policy. But there's several things that also that play into the cost, and that could be how much your deductible is. Your credit can play into that as well, on how good your credit is, can give you different numbers on your house based off of that. But the homeowner's insurance is a very important part of the buying process for a house. You've got to be able to secure that before you can close that loan. So it is an important part of it. That's about the gist of homeowners insurance. Does anybody have any questions on that?
How much is it usually?
It's going to depend on how much you're covering on the house and how much your deductible and stuff is. So it's going to vary, and it depends on how close you are to the fire department and fire hydrants and all that stuff. So everyone varies a little bit differently based off of where it's located.
So what if I have a house and like just an average looking price, but I was like right next to a fire department? Like what
Probably
would you,
$500 to
just an estimate?
$800 a month or something. If you're further away, it could be $1,200, $1,500. Just depends on where
For
you're at.
how long? Like
A month.
That's a year.
Oh, a year.
That's a
Okay.
year.
Mhm.
And typically, when you do the loan, most banks put that in their escrow account, and they will pay it each year, right, as they pay taxes and all that stuff. And that's called your escrow account. So they typically take that out of your mortgage payment.
Is that the first year that you buy a house? Like right after you just bought your house, and then you like that insurance, you just have to pay it off that first year that you buy it?
It's every year.
Oh.
So they'll pay it out of your escrow account every year.
I have a question. What if animal did some damage to my house? For example, one time squirrels chewed out cables. Do you cover that?
Depends on depends on what kind of policy you're on. Okay, so if you're on like an HO3 or better, that should be something that is covered. But there's different levels of homeowners insurance based off of how old it is, and like if it's 4 major things that they look for in a homeowners when you're going to buy. And I always ask Tatiana, is the roof been updated in the last 20 years? Has the electrical been updated in the last 20 years? Has the plumbing been updated in the last 20 years? And has the HVAC, does it have forced air of some type? Because if it does not have forced air, it doesn't qualify for a true homeowner's policy. So it's going to depend on what type of policy you're on, whether that's a covered peril or not.
So if somebody does not have a heating source, but they use stove, like a wood burning stove, would you still cover it?
We can absolutely cover it. It's just going to go on like a DP1, which is very limited coverage, just wind, hail, aircraft riot, explosion, and smoke. So there's only about 7. It has to be a named peril for it to be covered. But we can do mobile homes, we can do double wides, we can do farms. So we do a little bit of everything on the homeowners aspect.
Yeah, I have a question about if it's a landslide after certain rains, like because mountains goes this way, like it's land could slide and damage some property.
A mudslide.
Yeah.
Mudslide is not covered under any homeowner's policy. Flood is not covered under your homeowner's policy unless you add it. An earthquake is not covered under your policy unless you add it.
Okay, another question about the, do you have any discount offering to retired people?
Don't have a discount for retired people. The biggest discounts that you get on homeowners insurance is typically going to be based off your credit and based off if we have your auto insurance or not, and what deductible you choose. The higher your deductible, the lower your insurance cost is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy, so much.
So now we're reaching the closing time. The closing is usually attorney facilitated. Attorney makes an appointment with the buyer, and they tell you, hey, bring X, Y, and Z in documents wise, bring so much money to closing because this is what you owe, that's your share. So you transfer the funds and you get the ownership and you sign the paperwork. It can look like a big stack of papers, bigger than when you get married. Because when you get married, you sign one. You get a home loan, you get a stack.
And also, just before closing, you receive paper where they say what closing cost will be, so you will know how much money to bring to the closing day.
Yeah, the document is called, abbreviated version is CD or a HUD, and it does give you all of the financial information on it. So how much you're paying, how much you put down, who's getting taxes paid, who's paying the homeowner's insurance, and so on and so forth. And this concludes our seminar. Does anybody have any questions?
If you don't have questions, you didn't understand anything, or you don't know what you're doing.
For first-time homebuyers, and if he works with an agent for the first time. So, anybody wants to use Rex? He has a discount code.
So you had a question? I interrupted you.
Yeah, I said when can I start buying my house? Like I want a house right now.
As soon as you start saving and when you have enough money for down payment,
Yes, and you have to have a work history. So typically, it's a 2-year work history that is required
in the same
in the same field.
field.
Um,
If you work in fast food right now, you have to work for 2 years in fast food, then you can apply for the loan.
Correct. There are different ways, there are different lenders that could work with less than 2 years, but you have to have some work history associated, not just like you're fresh out of high school and you're ready to buy. Unless you have a significant down payment, they're probably not gonna,
Yeah,
If
you
you
have to show that you have some money in your
or a
account.
cosigner.
Please don't buy a fancy car just before you buy a house. Don't try to buy, like, go expensive vacation and finance it. Just sit tight, save all you can, and then apply for the mortgage. And then you can a little bit loosen your belt, right?
Yeah.